Well, thank you for joining me today, Carly. I really wanted to just put together a space where we can all just collaborate together and share some resources. And just because we are 6 feet apart, social distancing from friends and family doesn't mean we cannot be connected by heart together at home. So this is really what this is all about. And I'd love to find out some more about you and find out about what you're doing. So would you please just share some information about yourself, who you are, your business, anything that lights you up right now in your space?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I just want to say you're amazing. Thank you so much for having me here. And I love what you're doing. I love the intention behind it, just really bringing everybody together, and giving people the tools to focus on right now. As you said, like when it's so noisy, it can be so confusing. And I think what is so needed right now is people like you, like that beacon of light that's like, okay, I've got this. I know right now, let's bring everybody together in a really simple way and share some really practical tools.
Yeah.
So I'm Carly Clark Zimmer. I'm a BodyMind coach and consultant, and I love to help other coaches build their coaching practice really one baby step at a time. So I love working with intuitives, empathic, healers, and just people who they're soul-centered. They feel a lot of stuff. So right now, like, holy cow, they're feeling all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that also means that they get really overwhelmed easily when it comes to building their business. So that's what lights me up, is just helping them get embodied and clear on what is the right next step for them. Not like the right way, but like the right next step for them. And then I put on like my consultant hat, and it's like, okay, now let's get it done. Let's like XYZ, this is what you need to do. So it's like this beautiful mixture of embodiment, alignment, and practicality. Like, let's get stuff done.
Yeah. Yes. And I will chime in and say,
I know you love that.
No, I know, because you are my mentor coach, and you have helped me so much. And everything you just said, exactly true. I am definitely one of those feelers. I'm definitely one of those ones who, in the beginning anyways, without realizing it, was trying to get it right. And so having someone who understands me and who also provides those tools and helping me to find that inner within me has really been helpful for me to take those next steps. And I don't even view them as baby steps, because sometimes my next step is so expansive, but it feels so light and easy. And I want to say thank you to you specifically, because you have helped me out so much with that, with focusing on that. And that's one of the reasons why I was so excited to invite you into this space, because there are so many more people, entrepreneurs like myself, who have been doing it on our own, and we don't have to. That's one of the biggest things I've learned, is receiving the support actually helps you to do it better, actually helps you to do it right, whatever that vision of right is.
Yeah, right for you.
Right.
Right for you. And it doesn't, like,
Exactly.
I think what's happening right now is there's just so many ads out there. There's so many people claiming that this is the way, and I'll show you the way. And like, what I believe, what's lighting me up right now, Lena, is like the work that we do as BodyMind coaches.
Right.
We are a guide, we are a coach, but what we're actually helping people do is learn how to listen to themselves. I have had conversation after conversation after conversation this week, and it's like, no, what you need to do, and sometimes that's resting, and sometimes that's getting into action. Yes. And so what the powerful thing about our work, and why we both love what we do, is that, we're giving people the tools and resources to really learn how to listen to themselves. And when you know that, then you can build a business, you can start a project, you can go for that promotion in a way that just honors every part of who you are.
Yeah, I agree with that. And like you said, especially during this time that's affecting everyone, and we are all at home and browsing the internet and trying to figure out what to do, there is so much being thrown at us that it can be very confusing. And again, going back to my intention with this whole space, is providing a I don't want to say one-stop shop, but one area where people can go in and look at the specific kind of support. If you are someone who is ready to get yourself into gear as far as certain specific business stuff, but you want the support from a coach, great. Check out Carly Clark Zimmer, who is really helpful with helping you figure out your next step that is right for you, and keeping it simple and easy, and basically just knowing where you can find those reliable resources is important, because there is a lot being thrown at us that can be confusing, well-intentioned, but, again, just collaborating with those who are clear on how they are helping others as well, which I would love to ask you. First of all, I want you to just share with everyone where you're from and how you've been sharing support within your community, your own circle of influence, or where you're located and all of that.
Okay, awesome. So where I'm from, it's not a simple answer, but I'll try to.
Yes.
So actually it is. So I'm from upstate New York,
Okay.
Small town in upstate New York, 1,000 people, really, really tiny little town. But I moved my way down to New York City. I lived there for almost a decade, then to Long Island, but now I'm living in Ireland.
Yeah.
And it was through this, becoming a coach and bringing my business online virtually, that I was actually able to move here with my husband about a year ago at this time. It's almost a year. So that's where I am now. And I've been virtually running. Let me back up, slow down. Get in the hot seat. When my husband got the offer to come and work over here, they were opening up another arm of their business, of his company's business. I still had a brick and mortar office. And I was so scared to go completely virtual and online. And I'm so glad I did. And people are feeling that right now. They're like, oh, wow, I wish I had a portion of my business online so that I could continue this. And I know people are scrambling a little bit right now to make that happen. And can I just give a little PSA announcement to everyone of just you can do it, and it doesn't all have to happen tomorrow. Right? We can slow it down just a little bit, and make sure that it's in alignment, the steps that we're taking, so that we don't create something that we don't want to follow through on in the future, right? I think it's really important to get intentional about how we want to feel with whatever it is, those steps that we're taking.
Yeah. And that was my hidden agenda for asking. I'm glad you gave some of the background, but the fact that you are in a location right now that you didn't necessarily grow up in or establish your main business, and you're doing everything virtually, and you have that experience, and what it feels like to make the transition, which for someone like me, who I've been in this space of transitioning things for, the last few months, and it's very helpful, and it feels, like I'm not alone, and I can look up to someone who's done it, who's been there, who's done it, maybe not the same exact way, but seeing the different kinds of success and knowing that it can be done. So having someone who believes in you, someone who can share those resources of what you went through specifically, it's just that connection. It's that connection, and knowing that you can do it, whatever it is for you specifically, and so seeing someone who is making it happen with the opportunity that came up for you, being in a whole different space, not in the location you grew up in, but you're not just making it work, but you're thriving and you're enjoying it and you're doing what feels right for you, right? So I think it's really important for people to be able to see that, and it's real. We're real life people doing it,
Yeah, absolutely. And, the reason I'm here, the reason I brought my business virtual, was because I got clear on the feeling that I wanted to feel 7 years ago. So this was not an overnight thing, people. I'm hoping that, yes, there are those of us who have gone before that can help speed up that timeline. But for me, it took me a while, but even way before I knew anything about anything online, I didn't even know what an email list was. I didn't know about anything technology. I was allergic to tech. But I got clear on the feeling, and I wanted to feel free. I knew I wanted some sort of virtual business at some point in my life, so that I could travel with my husband, because he's in tech. So he's, has the ability to work virtually when needed. But even more so, my bigger vision was to be able to go see my family for 2 weeks and still be able to work. And my nieces and nephews, I have 7 of them right now. They're all little, and that was my bigger, yes, travel, but also to spend time with family, with friends.
Yeah.
and be able to work is just like the most rewarding thing I've ever done. So
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And it sounds like, it sounds like the dream, right? We all, typically when we're thinking of our core desired feeling, how we want to feel in life, our ideal lifestyle, it usually does center around having more time to spend with the ones that we love, being able to work less, make more, work less, all of that. And so it's important to see the path forward is to get clear on how you want to feel, right? So freedom, liberation,
Absolutely.
all of that, right? And that's what you do as a body mind coach, with your background also in body work and so many other areas of expertise. Just that cumulative experience, no doubt has brought you to where you're at right now. So it does take time, and what helps move things along is knowing how you want to feel, right? So
Yes. And can I add one more thing to that?
yeah, absolutely.
I struggle to figure the reason it took me 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say like I really started doing virtual coaching about 3 years ago, but the reason it took me so long in the beginning was because I tried to figure it out by myself. So what you're doing here by highlighting coaches and mentors and other people who can support your listeners,
Mm-hmm.
I can't stress enough how much time, money, and energy it's going to save you if you just hire a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it really was the best investment I ever made when I hired my first coach.
Yeah.
Right? Because I was just struggling to figure out, like stubborn to figure it out by myself.
Yeah.
And I feel like none of it was wasted. And, I look at the coaching program you are going through, you've been through, right? And I look at how fast people can make progress now on their core desired feelings,
Mm-hmm.
how much quicker it can come to you when you have that support. It blows my mind.
It's so true.
And that's what I want. That, like, if I had a message, like, ask for support,
Yeah.
right? And you can get
Yeah.
there quicker
Yeah.
instead of like trying to figure it out by yourself. It's like, I had an
Mm-hmm.
analogy about it the other day. It's like, okay, IKEA furniture.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine putting together IKEA furniture without any of the directions
Yeah.
or the tool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how they give you the little tool?
Yes.
Imagine you don't have that tool and you don't have the directions and you're trying to figure it out. That's what it feels like. But when you have a coach, right, they give you some tools that specifically help with what you want to build.
Yeah.
And, right, they've got a guide to guide you there.
Yeah.
It's so cool. So that's
that's
true.
What it's so true, Carly, because before I signed up for this program, I had never, reached out for this kind of support. I didn't even think about it. And I too, even though I was successful, yes, I was happy and successful in my business, and I knew I wanted to change things, but I was stuck in this place of, I'm very creative. I had all of these ideas. Even doing something collaborative like this, I've been wanting to do for years. But I always was like, I'll figure it out later, and I will do this. It was all me, and I put that pressure on myself. And the huge shift that happened for me was as soon as I just joined the BodyMind community, just even before actually starting the program, just the first freebie call I had for signing up early, whatever that was, and being on the call with a few other people and hearing similar expressions of, wow, these are other doers who have been very successful, who have been they're hustlers, are getting stuff done, and we're all like-minded in that. And it just automatically felt like that connection piece, like, wow, I found my people who understand, I can let my guard down. And then that for me was the beginning, or the catalyst for me diving in deeper and trying to find the lightest step to allow myself to be able to forge ahead. And the way that I have been able to continue forging ahead is receiving support. It's very simple. It's like, I'm almost addicted now. Like, how can I receive support in this? Even in small ways, when I'm like cleaning the house, or before I'm like, I'm going to get everything done before my hubby gets home and I can do this all myself. Now I'm just like, I'm going to ask him to clean the bathroom because that'll save me 20 minutes and I don't have to do it myself. There's always a background intention. I know for me anyways, for why I would do those things myself. And it wasn't like I necessarily felt like I could do it better. It was more like, I don't want to burden other people, or maybe parts of it where I can figure this out on my own. Yes. And you can
I can do it better than other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Faster, quicker.
When you receive that support, it does enhance everything. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's something that you have to experience even just even one small time or moment, to just be able to step outside of yourself and your old habits and routines to see that there is another way. Even just that frame of mind,
Yes.
there's another way to do it, you know? Um,
Yeah. There's always another way. There's always another perspective, right? And I think that's also really being highlighted right now. Like
yeah,
we can think one thing, right? Or we can think another thing, and we get to choose what that perspective is.
right.
And it's so important right now
It
that you
is.
choose it.
It is, especially in a time like right now with what's going on that's affecting everyone on the globe. There is no new norm that you can really adjust to, because every day there's something that comes up that changes it. So, what
Totally.
things have you shifted during this pandemic time to adjust daily or whatever? Yeah, what things come up for you?
It's kind of funny. So since I've been working from home,
Hmm.
like I'm like, this is normal.
Right?
This like quarantine. I'm like, oh, that's what I do. No, I'm just joking, but not really. But it's kind of interesting. So the things that have really shifted for me, one is my husband is now working from home. And so we have been having our almost like a morning meeting of, okay, when do you have Zoom calls today? Which room do you need?
Mhm.
When, just kind of like in his company, they call it like a morning stand up, right?
Yeah,
Like everyone comes together and we
yeah,
just get a little organized and clear as to who needs what, when, and just almost like practicality,
yes.
of
Game plan.
this interview is a perfect example. I have an interview. Don't come in and interrupt me during the interview,
Yeah.
right? Like playing your guitar, which he normally might do.
Hmm.
So that really speaks to communication and boundaries and just like supporting each other. So that has definitely shifted, and it's for the positive, you know.
Absolutely.
Um, I have a very robust and strong self-care routine, and that has just been like expanded a little bit because I'm also a healer. I'm intuitive, I'm empathic. I'm feeling all of this
Hmm.
so much.
Hmm.
So my mornings are very guarded in terms of what I'm allowing in to my energy. No phone, no social media, no news, no email, nothing before 11 a.m. It
Yeah.
is like, I've always been pretty good about that, but even more so now, I'm just like,
Yeah.
meditation comes first, my movement comes first, my own like maybe a little bit of just like writing or journaling. Like I need to do that first to get my perspective, what I'm choosing, how I want to feel down first before the rest of the world starts grabbing for my attention.
Yeah, that's a
Right.
great point. So important right now. And so with that, with the boundaries and being aware, especially for someone in your position who you're used to working virtually, you've already set these boundaries for yourself that's protected you, but there is something that shifted in the whole world that is calling for maybe a revision or a modification of those boundaries. So any exclusive tips or things that have helped you to be able to prioritize that, or anything you want to share to help people in that similar position as you?
Yeah. I mean, I was talking to two of my best friends last night, and they've got little ones home. Right. And I know like that has been a real, like, it's easy. It's just me and my hubby. Like, we have a morning meeting. We can respect each other's boundaries.
Yeah,
When
right,
you've got a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old running around,
right,
it's a whole other ball game.
right.
So in terms of that, I think the biggest thing is that just what you said before, there is no new normal. You get
Hmm.
to figure this out one step at a time. And
Right.
so, if anything, like having that little morning check in, even with your kids, like, what do you need today?
Mm,
Is just a great way to every day kind of come back to a baseline, because like we don't know what that baseline is anymore. We
yeah,
just don't. And you and I, like, I don't have the answers,
right.
but I do know that communication is key right now. Protecting your own energy is key right now. Meditation's always been so huge for me so that I can get in touch with that feeling. That's
Yeah,
how I do it. And
yeah,
walking.
yeah.
Um, I know nature is tough for some people, especially if you're in a city and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, just like any little bit that you can do to feel connected
Mm-hmm.
to others also, I think is huge. But I would say connect with yourself first.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so important. And, you know, as you mentioned as well, I'm finding this to be true. I've been doing more virtual calls, which is out of the norm for me. But
Mhm.
what I find has been helpful for me and for others is because things are shifting so much every day,
Mhm.
finding something to anchor down on so that you don't feel untethered or like you're just like, what's today going to look like? Am I going to binge Netflix for 10 hours? And then
Mhm.
tomorrow, like really try to get something done, like tackle my organization of the garage. And then it can be so up and
Yeah.
down, like that time
Yes.
management energy. So I love how you brought out, you know, the whole morning meeting. What do you call it with your hubby? You do the meeting.
Like a stand up.
It's funny because
Morning stand up.
my husband does meeting minutes every morning. That's what he does with his. So we have that as well. We're like, all right, similar thing. Like, where are you? I mean, he's in the office right now, but it's more me letting him know, like, I'm literally set up in my kitchen. I blocked it off. I locked him on the deck and I'm like, you're just going to be up there until I'm done. But finding what you can anchor down on for your
Mhm.
day, almost just taking
Mhm.
it day to day, starting with prioritizing your morning,
Mhm.
communicating. So whether you have
Yeah.
kids or not, just basically, I think what would help is finding something to anchor down on, that can provide some sort of semblance of stability in a world that's ever changing on a day-to-day basis right now, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another like really practical tip that's I always share with my coaches, my clients is like one thing. Let's focus on one thing today. Same thing, like anchoring down, and then in terms of like accomplishing something,
Yeah.
one thing.
Oh, I like that.
And
Yeah.
this is so important for everyone who has kids at home, right? Like just what is one thing? Don't even try to get the normal amount of stuff done. Like that is not happening.
Yes.
I know you're probably trying to limit screen time and stuff like that. And right, sometimes you have to get work done.
Yeah.
So like
Right.
one thing, and for the coaches who feel overwhelmed with the tech and all that stuff, one thing,
One thing. I love that.
one
Yeah.
thing.
So focus on the one thing, start your day off and just anchor down onto that. And also be kind with yourself. You know, and
Yes.
yes, we may want to get a lot of stuff done because we're trying to really try to fulfill or satisfy that sense of accomplishment. And yes, by doing it, focusing on the one thing, you will still feel accomplished. So I love that.
Yeah.
Now, I know you already do virtual. What are some additional ways that you're supporting people right now? Any special offers? Anything you want to invite people into during this time?
Sure. So I will say that I've really been feeling into this too, because there are like the internet feels so loud. So it really like took a couple weeks to feel into what feels super aligned. So I've done a couple of you know, scholarship session calls with people who are really struggling, who are just like, I need some extra support and they know how to ask for it. And I love that.
Yeah.
Um, and I have a freebie I call the Aligned Embodied Business Planner.
Okay.
And, you know, I created it a couple months ago, but it's still so timely because it has 5 simple steps to figure out what that one thing is.
Mm.
And the first step is really doing like a brain dump. The second step is celebrating so
Mm.
that we can go off of that positive energy of like, okay, what is just like something from last week or yesterday that I can celebrate. And
Right.
then the third step is embodiment,
Mhm.
right? Because if we don't have embodiment, we can just be reacting to everything
Yeah.
instead of really deciding what that one thing is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to share that link with you. It's a great way if you are starting a business or you're working on your virtual business and you feel like you've got 1,000 plates in the air and you're not sure where to start. It's a good place to help you get grounded and focused and embodied, and then like choose the one thing from that brain dump that's going to um, help you do what you want to do and feel the way you want to feel. So it kind of combines all of these
Mm.
these different things that we're talking about. And the other thing is I just started Tech Fridays in my Facebook group because of all the tech questions that are coming. How do I use Zoom? How do I do this? How do I do that?
Right.
So that is just something that I've really been feeling into as a way to support my community, right?
Yeah.
That they're just, sometimes they have some questions, and just getting on there and even not just like answering tech questions, but so your husband's in tech, my husband's in tech. And over the years, I've really learned to think about it differently, because I used to think I wasn't good at tech, and like really had that belief that I wasn't good at it, until he pointed out to me that even people who are in tech, when they have to learn a new program, they have to learn a new program. And it takes time and patience, not just because they're in technology doesn't mean they're good at all tech. And so like what I want to do on these Tech Fridays is help teach the mindset really behind that. And not just like give you the tools, but we'll do some of that, but it's really like, what is the mindset behind that?
I love
because
that.
then that's like teaching you how to fish, right? Instead of just like, here's the fish. It's really teaching you as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, how to move forward when technology continues to change, when circumstances continue to change.
That is so important. I'm so excited to be able to share that resource. And yes, everyone listening or watching the video, I'm going to be including all of the links to find Carly and all these wonderful things she's doing. But that is super helpful, especially right now, because a lot of this, the way that I'm supporting people for whatever they're signing up for, it is coming a lot of times to that, like helping them navigate Zoom or website stuff. And like you said, it's all about the mindset. So I love that. I feel like that is super beneficial, especially right now. And it's something that's going to be highly effective for people. And, we get that lump in our throats when we have to do something like that, especially when you feel like you're not tech savvy. And then that feeling discourages you from moving forward. So having a space and a person to connect to, like yourself, like Carly, I think is huge. And I know from working with you, or having you be my mentor coach, it is the energy that you bring is so calm, but also motivating and encouraging. So I'm just excited to share that and to see what comes of it. I know people will love it. So is there anything else that you want to share with others to be able to connect and support, or anything during this time that comes to mind?
I think the biggest thing is compassion for yourself, for others, for the world, for you in each moment of whatever you're feeling. I think it's just such a practice. Like the whole world is shifting and changing as we know it. And I think just learning that deep self-compassion of we are shifting and changing too, and it's okay. I think that is going to be key right now, and expectation. Really looking at what expectations you're putting on yourself and your family. All of that kind of needs to have a moment of like, let's look at all of this, and we get to rebalance and decide how we want to move forward. So I think those are big things that are on my mind right now, are just compassion and expectation and self-care.
Absolutely.
And support. And support. Honestly, support too. Like, I'm so glad we're doing this call and connecting. I was able to connect with a couple of my friends, business owners back in Long Island, just to check in with them, how their businesses were going. So I think, community and support is so huge too, especially when we're in this like weird period where like things are shifting socially and we don't really know how we're going to, interact with each other moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. And, to that point, remembering we're shifting together. We're in this together.
Everybody is.
Everybody is. So let's receive that support that we need and get really clear on what it is that we would love to receive, and just go for it. So thank you so much for your time, Carly. I really appreciate it. I had fun connecting with you.
Thank you for having me here. Yeah. So fun. I love what you're doing. You're just such a shining light, a beacon, right? And thank you for doing this for everyone and for putting it together. Such an honor.
Thank you, Carly. I appreciate that.